Welcome to the Beasts of the NFC East podcast. I am your host, Sean Michael Gnitzcavich, with my co-host, Jeremy Goode. Jeremy Goode, what is good?
Great week for one team in the NFC East.
Yeah,
No spoilers, but interesting week out of the East.
yeah, the NFC East started to look like the NFC least again. And
Yeah.
how does it feel to be the last team standing, Jeremy?
Well, it's nice. It's nice to hold up the weight of the division. I've been doing that for a good bit now. And
It's a season and a half right now, I think. But
yeah, it's just good to win. I think one of my points will be overall, in all seriousness, regardless of how you're playing, winning is the ultimate prize each week. So it's interesting. Some scheduling issues I think for the Giants early on, no
mhm.
doubt, but some concerns all around for each team. It looks like even the
Yeah,
Eagles too.
yeah.
So it's intriguing actually around the division.
Yeah, I don't think the Cowboys, who looked probably the most perfect, really crumbled against arguably the worst team in the league, who honestly
Right.
might not be as bad as everybody expected.
They
And
play hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the Eagles won, but I mean, I was watching that game. You were watching that game. It was a rain game, but a little sloppy, a little sloppy. Even though they won
We'll
handily.
get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's start with the darlings of the NFC East, my
Hmm.
my New York Football Giants.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me get some notes on that.
yep. So the Giants lost to the 49ers 30-12. And although that score looks a little inflated, the Giants hung in there. They were actually in the game for the entirety of the game until like midway through the fourth quarter, and that's pretty much when it all went to heck. I was actually pretty proud of the Giants for how handicapped we were. Our starting line,
Hmm.
again, was without Evan Neal. We had Josh Azudu, our third round guard that we got last year. He didn't win a starting spot on the line and is playing left tackle for us. Shane Lemieux got the start because Mark Lewinsky still is that bad. Shane Lemieux got his first start in I think like two or 3 years at left guard. And then John Michael Smits, again, it's only his third game against a pretty stout 49ers defensive front, including your old friend Javon Hargrave, who did get a sack. And without Saquon Barkley, we really were one-dimensional in the run game. We only had Matt Breida put up 17 yards. We only had a total of 29 rushing yards. 29 rushing yards against, and it's not like we put up a total of 160 yards, a little over 160 yards on offense.
Mm.
Yeah, it was not great. How did we get that touchdown? It was not from marching down the field. It was from a pass interference call on Darren Waller. So yeah, as good as it was to hang in the game, we played sloppy. But the offensive line was a wreck. Daniel Jones had no time. Jalen Hyatt didn't get a target. Remember what I said? Jalen Hyatt, if we're going to win, Jalen Hyatt needs to get some explosive. We need to have those explosive plays against the Niners. And we didn't have the time. I know PFF rated the Giants' offensive line as one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history. I think all of the linemen got like a grade in the single digits, aside from Evan Neal. Evan Neal played the same as he did. He's still graded in the 40s, which is awful. But I think it's a testament to Daniel Jones's mobility and Brian Daboll's play calling, also Mike Kafka, that he was only sacked twice. Daniel Jones was only sacked twice despite that awful performance. It's because it was all those dip and dunks to get the ball off and him moving. And honestly, that one sack that was almost a safety when Nick Bosa just had a free release. Daniel Bellinger was supposed to get him. Daniel Bellinger didn't get him. Evan Neal didn't even chip Nick Bosa, and it was almost a safety. I don't know. That was just like some miscommunication. Yeah, it was. It felt better because we were hanging in the game throughout it, but it was an awful game. The Giants, I think, like our 5 best defensive players all had at least 2 missed tackles. Like we just didn't know how to tackle, which is these are things that you need to do against one of the best teams in the league. You need to get those tackles. You need, and And Darren Waller, like we had all these little mistakes. Darren Waller had, I think, 2 or 3 dropped passes, and one of them was deflected up for an interception to Talua Hafunga. Yeah, it's just those sloppy mistakes. Like you're not going to win the game with those mistakes against one of the best teams in the league, and we just it was just mistake after mistake after mistake. Yeah, it's that was. I don't. We could make excuses. We didn't have the O line. We didn't have the running backs, but like the Seahawks didn't have their 2 starting tackles, and they beat the Lions with Aiden Hutchinson, and they beat the Panthers, who's easier competition. But here, you could weigh in here before I just keep ranting about how.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Doesn't help that it's a Thursday, the first game of the week on Thursday night for week 2 or week 3, and all eyes on those 2 teams. Obviously, a few notes I have. You mentioned it, Sean. Defense could not tackle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. I don't care how bad of a team you are. If you can make tackles, the game can go differently, and you can stay in it longer. Daniel Jones threw 32 times, 22 for 32, 137 yards. Not good enough. You're going to need more yards out from the air when Barkley is out of the game. I feel spoiled as an Eagles fan with having different running backs who are productive enough, at least.
Yeah.
And you have a guy like Saquon Barkley, great running back when healthy. When he is out, Matt Breida's not a good backup.
Matt Breida's not and Gary Brightwell, his
is
Instagram handle is literally Slow Gary Brightwell. That's his Instagram name. He was drafted as a special teams player. It's like,
yeah.
There is a guy that I don't know if he might still be on our practice squad, but Jashawn Corbin really loved him. Bucky Brooks loved him coming out of the draft. He was an undrafted free agent 2 years ago. He's always performed incredibly well during the preseason. He's somebody who I wish was just lingering on our roster. I think a lot of people wanted him to be on our roster, but he's one of those hard-nosed runners that I think could have been productive against the 49ers. But Matt Breida, I'm sorry, gave me no excitement. Yeah, he averaged 4.2 per carry. He had that touchdown down the middle, but
which is okay.
Yeah,
4.2.
He's not a lead back though.
It's okay if you're getting like 20 touches.
Yeah.
So, but he got 4.
No,
he splits it with Brightwell. Yeah. He splits it with Brightwell, 4 carries, 5 yards. Daniel Jones isn't running the ball. Obviously, he's been under pressure.
Yeah.
Another point I wanted to make, though, there were a lot of times, not a lot necessarily, but there were several times where it looked like Daniel Jones just had to get the ball off and hit their receivers down the field, and he doesn't want to throw the football. There are other quarterbacks like that, too. He's at a point where just let it fly, brother. It's you're not going to get many yards hoping for Slayton, Campbell, Robinson, Waller, Hodgkins to get open whenever. You got to take some risk if you're him. They didn't do that, and you can tell because they only were able to get 160 yards for the game offensively and under 140 through the air. So it's I don't know. I saw a lot of excuse making from Giants Nation. I have to be honest. There were some interesting takes. Let me see if I can pull something up. If you have something to say in between, though, mention it. But there were some.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Yes.
Like, there was only one real open play where Jalen Hyatt could have been hit, like with the time. But we needed to just find something. Like we were having Daniel Bellinger line up as a 6th offensive tackle, essentially, our tight end, to try to get some of that extra time. And it just, but like Darren Waller with those drops and Wan'Dale Robinson and Paris Campbell, like we had, like you guys need to have those yards after the catch. This is another stat is I think 200 of Brock Purdy's or like 100 of Brock Purdy's passing yards came from yards after the catch. Like our yards after the catch, I think were like a lead low. Like there was just nothing. Like Wan'Dale Robinson, Paris Campbell, they get that 5-yard dink and dunk. They're maybe getting a yard. They're not getting that first down, and we need that out of them. It's Wan'Dale Robinson's first game back this season. Great. He got 4 catches. He could catch the ball, but like 5 yards down the field, that's not doing anything for us.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
It just. You got some of these excuses. I'm ready to defend.
Art Stapleton, who I believe is a New York Giants beat reporter, he's been
Yes, he
doing it for
is.
a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he mentioned he tweeted out as the game was ending.
Yeah.
The Giants are down 30-12, and this sounds crazy to say, but this has been an encouraging performance, relatively speaking, that this team might be able to develop into something after all, despite such a brutal start to the year. They competed on a short week, no moral victories, but didn't back down either. No moral victories, but I'm going to say moral victories. I get that it was a short week, injuries. I I don't know. I just like it's not just the Giants either. I'm not just picking on the Giants, but like
Yeah.
I don't know what their identity is because last year it
Mm-hmm.
looked like they peaked early. Good, like finished 9-8. Am I'm correct on that record? 9-8.
9-8-1, right? Yeah. Nine
Right.
nine
Yes.
seven and one. Yeah, 9-7-1. Yeah.
9-7-1.
Yeah.
They get a wild card spot.
Yeah.
They beat a team. They beat the Vikings in the playoffs. They get spanked in the divisional round. That's okay. It looks like you're forming something. It seems like if I'm a Giants fan, I want to see progress. And it's a tough schedule, but
There
there are
wasn't
some
progress there.
injuries.
But the thing is, there was some encouraging things, but everything that was encouraging ended up getting dismantled. Like
Yeah,
Mike
right.
McFadden, who Giants fans didn't even want to play. He was questionable coming in. He was their second
Hmm.
linebacker, just kind of by default. He had a great game. He had like 4 tackles for loss. He also had, I think, 3 missed tackles. So, like, yeah, he
Yeah,
looked amazing. He had those tackles for losses. But Xavier McKinney had 2 missed tackles. Bobby Okereke kind of just didn't really show up, missed tackles. I thought Deontay Banks was playing really well in coverage, and then he lets up that touchdown to like Ronnie Bell, like the 6th round pick for
right.
them. It's just Kayvon Thibodeau finally got a sack. That was about it. Finally got our sack on the season, but still no turnovers. Like
Yeah,
I get it. Like we didn't get demolished. The score looks like we got demolished, but we hung in there throughout the game. I think that, like I said, that's more of a testament to Brian Dable play calling, trying to have us linger in the game. Because if you look at these stats, we shouldn't have even been close throughout this game. But
yeah. I
it's
think.
but also we can't defend the run still. Christian McCaffrey ran all over us. Elijah Mitchell ran all over us. Like
Yeah, that's
that's
a
something that
concern.
we need to fix. Like we don't have any excuses in that defensive front. We have what we're supposed to have, that bolstered defensive front to stop the run, which was one of our issues last year. That still hasn't shown. So, and next week we play Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, who are 2 very good running backs that can split those carries. And so I'm curious to see how we defend against that. Also, uh, the Seahawks have a bunch of, like, they were missing, the 49ers were missing Brandon Ayuk, which I think kind of helped us,
I would think so.
but Debo Samuel still put up 129 yards,
He
like
did.
yards after the catch, like, because we couldn't get those tackles, man.
Yeah, I mean, I saw. His name is Dan Schneier.
Dan
You
Schneider,
recognize?
yes. Yeah, Big Blue Banter.
He tweeted during the game, regardless of how this game finishes, the Giants were competing against the NFC favorites without their best player, Andrew Thomas, their best playmaker, I assume
Saquon
Saquon,
Barkley, yeah.
a left guard playing for the first time since COVID, a right guard making his second career
Yep.
start, a guard playing left tackle, and despite allowing 5 back breaking long third down conversions, it's a good sign for the season, in my opinion, no matter how this finishes. Now, I'll give Dan credit.
Yeah.
He tweeted maybe like an hour later, yeah, this didn't age well. I sent it around the end of the third quarter when it was a 1-score game. Things flipped fast. Giants were never going to win this one, though, before the year, even if healthy. Week 4 is a season defining game. I don't know. If you're healthy, wouldn't you want to, like, what? Shouldn't you be thinking, if we're healthy, we had a good year last year, it's on the road, it's a short week. Don't we have a
I think we
chance?
have
I
a
don't
chance, and
know.
I
That's what I
really
would
I
think.
respect Dan Schneider. Dan Schneider does like a lot of
Yeah.
analytics too, in his coverage with the Big Blue Banter.
Hmm.
But I'll tell you what, I agreed with him at the end of the third quarter. I felt really good. I felt really good watching that game because we were in there. Like we kind of had a
Yeah.
little bit of momentum. Like, it was a 1-score game, and then after the Niners pulled away with like 5-6 minutes left in that fourth quarter, And then the Giants, I'm pretty sure that's when Daniel Jones threw his interception and it just ended it because Darren Waller couldn't hold it. Like, that's the thing. Like, we should have been still those little mistakes. Like, that's the thing. I think if we didn't make those mistakes, we could have hung in there. It could have been a 1-score game at the end, all said and done.
Maybe. I
But
think San Francisco was kind of playing uh
they definitely look more
conservatively.
dominant. Yeah.
I think they wanted to get out of there healthy on short rest. I think a lot of teams going in who are better on Thursday night are doing that just because no one really wants to be there. They just got beat up a few days ago. But yeah, the way the game was going, you have to acknowledge that too. So you can't
Yeah.
pretend that, it wasn't a 20-12 game for sure going into the fourth.
And yeah, it's tough. I think that's really. I mean, we just have to see how the Giants bounce back. Hopefully, we'll see about Andrew Thomas and Saquon Barkley. At least we kind of have this bye, kind of similar to what you guys had. You had the Thursday game, and then you had the Monday game, so 11
Right.
days rest.
That is nice.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I feel like I still haven't learned anything about this Giants team because, like, we were playing
Yeah.
handicap. We didn't have any
Doesn't
time in
help
the
with all those
pocket.
injuries, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really like. I still don't know who we are. Like you said, I'm curious to see. Hopefully, we have Andrew Thomas back. Even if we don't have Saquon back, I feel like we just need to play better against like the Seahawks. They don't have like a tremendous defensive front. I want to see what we do with our playmakers when we have a little bit more time in the pocket and Daniel Jones is rushing for his life. But yeah, I think. Do you have any more key takeaways from this Giants game? It's just like it just was so middling. Like I wasn't expecting much. It was
Yeah.
exciting being in there, but afterwards it's like, yeah, it's kind of what I expected.
It's interesting that, you go get Darren Waller and he hasn't been like an impact yet in a
No.
good way. Maybe, he helped with the Arizona game, but gotta give him more time because
And
it's a
he
small
has to get
sample
those
size.
catches. Like those catches that he was dropping were the catches that he was making in preseason when we're all like, he's going to transform our team. And
Yeah.
that one that went right through his hands. And I know Brian Dable said that was more Daniel Jones's fault, but I mean, it was in his hands. And then bam, interception. Like
Yeah.
that. I mean, that turned the tide of the game. That put us out of it. Not that we were going to win it if he makes that catch, but that totally took us out of the game. So
Right.
it's
Yeah. They'll get some extra rest.
yeah.
Not looking good though. I don't know. It's like I was saying, it's a short sample. It's 3 games in.
Mm-hmm.
We love to react after every game. I think you have to let some stuff breathe too and look big picture. But
Yeah.
they're definitely being tested schedule wise. They're tested early, no doubt.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, the Seahawks are definitely not an easy out. I mean, they beat us last year, and
It
I
is
think that they
nice.
have a better roster.
Statistically, though, West teams traveling to the East Coast and on like a prime time game, like a Monday night, Thursday night,
Yeah,
usually it benefits East like drastically. But like you said, the Steelers, like you said, the Seahawks they have a good roster.
yeah. We'll see. I know Deontay Banks. I'm pretty sure he's going to be healthy. There's a little scare with him, but we're going to need Deontay Banks, especially with all those playmakers. So
No doubt.
we will get to that. We are just doing the recap this episode. So let's move on to the next game in the slate. You want to do the Commanders Bills?
Sure. Washington looks bad. They Sam Howell
Look bad.
looks like a quarterback who I guess is not a rookie, but a first time quarterback. 4 interceptions, played
One
a
per
good
quarter.
team.
One per quarter.
Yes, that's a lot.
Hey, consistent, man.
It's something like that. Consistent. If you're the Bills, you like that consistency. They played a good team. Bills have a good defense when they're clicking offensively, like they did on Sunday. I think basically for the first time really this year. They're a good team, but I thought this would be a test for the Commanders from the start. They looked bad.
I'll tell you what. You know what? Seeing this performance, I think that the 49ers are a better team than the Bills. They're all different. I felt
Hmm.
better about the Giants' loss. I mean, the Commanders just could not hang in there at all.
Yeah, yeah. I
It
don't
was
think
just
that.
I
I
don't
don't.
know, and also like they played really good against the Broncos. The Broncos just had 70 points put up on them. Like, so does that kind of spoil
Yeah,
their 35-point game against the Broncos? I wouldn't take it away from them, but
it's
it
hard to
puts things
compare,
into
but
perspective.
absolutely. That's what I was trying to say after the Denver game too. It's like
Yeah.
Denver's just also not a good team. So it's like Washington. They play Arizona week one. They
Hmm.
come out with a win, even though they were losing for 97% of the game. They win week two in Denver. In Denver,
Hmm.
impressive, but like not good teams. And they start playing good teams and they get smacked. So I don't think Washington's a good team. This game didn't surprise me. I thought
Nope.
it would be maybe a little not as bad, but it didn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah. Um. I remember tuning in just for that AJ Epinunza interception for
Mm,
the touchdown return, and it was I mean, Sam Howell, he had the opportunity to rush for a first down. I think he was going for Curtis Samuel, and like throwing an interception to a defensive end is like that's just like you're not seeing the field. Like it looked ugly. It was an
yeah.
ugly play. Um, yeah, Sam Howell definitely was humbled here, and their defensive front too. Like that was a big thing. Is that like one of the reasons why the Bills were able to march on the field? The Commanders' defensive front did nothing. No
Yeah.
sacks,
They ran
nothing.
Bills ran well too,
Yeah, and
or
James Cook.
decently enough.
Yeah, James Cook ran for average 6.5 per carry, 100 yards just about. I mean, Latavius Murray got in on the action. Damian Harris got in on the action. I mean, it's and I'll tell you this too. Jahan Dotson, man, he was my guy. I was so excited. He's been disappointing all season. He just has
Yeah,
not
I mean
put up a good game.
it's also I think you also have to look at the quarterback situation, and they have to figure out how the offense is going to look. They have to figure out their identity on offense. Week one, offensively, they didn't look good. Last week against Denver, a lot better.
Mhm.
And then on Sunday, they were atrocious. So they really this is a learning year for them for with Sam Howell, and I think there are going to be some guys who um, are not going to are going to feel it in a bad way, let's say,
Yeah,
just like in terms of targets, productiveness, where they fit in. I know McLaurin had um, a productive pass catching game, but I think he only had like 6 catches for like 40 something yards. Let me
41
say.
yards. Yeah, 6 catches for
Yeah,
41.
6.8 yards per catch for him is
And that's low. Like
that's
that's not how
that's
to
bad
utilize
for
Terry.
Washington.
Yeah,
Brian Robinson ran decently,
yeah,
but
he did. Yeah, it was like
not
one of their
yeah.
highlights, but I mean, not enough to make an impact, you know. And he still only rushed the
Right.
ball 10 times. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
You'd
I think
want
it's funny that Ron Rivera kicked that field goal at the end, though. Just it does. It makes it look a little bit better to have those 3 points. You know, it makes it
yeah,
look.
let
It
me
looks, but like as a like, let's be real. As a Commanders fan, you guys couldn't score a touchdown. I know how it feels. I
yeah.
was there week one. It's
Yes.
but yeah, that was just a sloppy game. Uh, I had some more. Yeah, it just I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the Bills looked great. Stephon Diggs was like unguardable
Yeah.
as he's pretty much their entire passing offense too. Stephon Diggs.
He is. I'm surprised that they 2 years ago in the AFC Championship game, it looked like Gabe Davis was really emerging as a wide receiver
Yeah,
two, maybe a wide receiver one for some bad teams.
yeah,
And they haven't found volume wise, they haven't found anything really
hmm
going with him. Yeah, he gets some plays here or there. He'll get a few scores, but they haven't been able to implement him. I mean, Josh Allen loves Diggs, and he should
yeah.
because
He
they have
loves
a good
Diggs, dude.
situation going. But you would think too, with Dalton Knox and with their with Kincaid, their rookie, you
Yeah,
would think
Dawson.
that they try to
Yeah,
mix
Dalton
it up a
Kincaid's been a
little.
little bit disappointing too.
Yeah.
Especially because some of these rookie, like Sam Laporta, the rookie tight end, looks great. Luke Musgrave for the Packers looks great, but everybody was so hype
Hmm.
on Dalton Kincaid, and he really hasn't been
Yeah.
getting featured as much at all. That's what I was going to say. Antonio Gibson was eating popcorn before the game. He got a fumble too. So
Yeah.
hey, that's helping for my Brian Robinson carries. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's been a fumbling machine too. Like he's
yeah.
just been bad.
It's But hey, you know what? The Commanders have a get right game next week. They're playing somebody pretty easy, right?
No comment. In
I feel,
Philadelphia one.
and it is in Philadelphia, correct?
It is.
All right. Are you going to that game? I feel like that'll be a fun game for you to watch.
I probably will not be in the building. We'll try to tailgate it, and we'll be watching on television, no doubt.
It should be a fun one. I mean, I think especially like everything that the Bills are, I feel like the Eagles are the same. Like they're pretty good. Like they have a great O line. I would say the Eagles have a better O line. So the fact that
Right.
the Commanders D line struggled against the Bills, we'll see how that translates to next week. Also, you know, covering Stephon Diggs, yeah, that's tough. Try to covering Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. Like that's
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a tough task for this Commanders team. They
As it should be too,
Yeah, as
because
it should be.
they're one of those teams where they have pieces on both sides,
Yeah.
but they seem like they're missing something at probably the most important position in terms of when they play good teams. So we'll
Listen,
see what this is.
everybody likes Sam Howell. This is some adversity. Let's see if he can bounce back and play well in adversity because he hasn't shown that yet.
No doubt, and he
Yeah.
hasn't had the opportunity either. So I'll give him that. But it just seems like Sunday was more fitting of who he is as a quarterback than week 1 and 2. It's
Yeah, I
like
would say. I think
it's
I
like
think
you
that
could,
that showed a pretty low floor. I mean, four
yeah,
sloppy interceptions.
really bad.
I mean,
There was some weather stuff going on
yeah.
too, but if I'm a quarterback like Sam Howell in that situation, going in, the weather's iffy. I'm thinking, let's run the ball more with Brian Robinson. Let's
Mhm.
protect the ball more just as a passer. See where it goes from there.
And Sam Howell
And
only
he's
ran it once too. Like Sam
yeah,
Howell, like, hey man, you're struggling. Use your legs a little bit, dude.
use it or lose it for
Yeah.
him. And he definitely was only threw the ball 29 times too, which is like they didn't have many offensive snaps.
Yeah.
They only ran with Brian Robinson 10 times and threw 29 and 4 interceptions. I mean, numbers just aren't the reason to lose by 34 points, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to take away from that game?
I don't think so.
I think we should get to the game everybody's been waiting for. The Cowboys versus the
My
Cardinals.
God.
Cardinals win 28-16. Dak Prescott finally throws that interception everybody's been waiting for against
Yep.
Kaiser White. Good for Kaiser White.
Good for
Um,
nice little Eagle last year. Had a good beginning of the season.
yeah,
Tailed off at the end, but he's always contributing to the Eagles fund and making Eagles fans happy. So I love it. Thank you, Kaiser White.
yeah. Thank you. Josh Dobbs looked decent. He got the job done. James Conner
Yeah.
continues. James Conner continues just chugging away. I'm not gonna. I was somebody who kind of wrote James Conner off. Watching him run against the Giants last week, I mean, he was just pushing it. Like he's been averaging just about 100 yards per game, and he's just chugging along. He averaged 7 yards per carry too, against like what the Cowboys are saying they have the best defense in the league. Didn't really look like that against the Arizona Cardinals, though. I'll tell you. That we do have to. I mean, one of the biggest news that came out of this week was Trayvon Diggs tearing his ACL
Yeah.
out for the season. Definitely
Mhm.
hurt. I know that I saw a stat prior to that. Through 2 weeks, his quarterback rating when thrown towards him was a 1. The
Hmm.
QBR thrown to him was a 1, which led the league. I mean, that was like pretty much
Interesting.
perfect. So
Yeah.
definitely a huge loss. Nobody's rooting for that. I want the Cowboys to lose, and I want them to have no excuses. But yeah, that definitely hurts. Michael Gallup emerged. That's probably a big stat. Like we were all talking, where's that number 2? Michael Gallup looked the best. 6 receptions for
Mm-hmm.
92 yards. Um, Brandon Cooks doesn't look like that guy. He only 17 yards on 2 receptions. CeeDee Lamb, I feel like should have been featured a little bit more in this game.
You would think so. You would think so. And like him of his caliber, of his talent, a lot of people put him in the. They don't say he's better than Justin Jefferson, but they put him in that group with him and Diggs, who should give you an easy 110, 125 yards per week kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like the Cowboys need that out of him too.
Yeah. But they
He didn't
definitely
come
did.
through.
It
Yeah.
wasn't there. Yeah, that's just it's just what we needed. I think the Cowboys needed to be cut down to size because I don't think I wanted another week of them acting like they were the best.
What was I trying to say after week 1 and 2? Pump the
Hey,
brakes.
pump the brakes. Hey, listen, they played the Giants in the rain. It was awful. They played the Jets, who look
without Aaron
awful.
Rodgers.
Without Aaron Rodgers. And you know what? Josh Dobbs is the one who finally. So you know what? Congrats, Josh Dobbs. Good job. Yeah,
He ran. He was. Dobbs also was able to do it with his feet too, which was interesting. Connor's been a good running back the last few years in Arizona. I mean, he's found something there. I would think that maybe he'd be a deadline kind of trade piece, but maybe Arizona also just wants to keep him to help with the offense. We'll see there, but no interceptions for Dobbs. Very accurate with the football. 17 for 21.
Yeah.
Just under 200 yards throwing. I don't expect him to do much more, honestly.
Yeah.
But he also ran for, they ran for north of 200 yards, which is big. Dallas can't stop the run.
Defensive run, yeah. That's
Everyone
why
was
they got
saying
Mozzie
Dallas.
Smith.
I know. They said last year Dallas can't stop the run, which was true. And now it looks like this year, maybe it's also true again, and especially missing Trayvon Diggs in the secondary. I assume that won't help at that phase of the defense as well.
Micah Parsons got the sack. I think our bold prediction said he was going to get 2 sacks. So
yes,
didn't hit there.
He was double teamed a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was. DeMarcus Lawrence also got to the quarterback, but I mean, for like the best defense in the league, man, they 2 sacks, no interceptions, no turnovers. That doesn't. Against arguably the worst offense in the league, it doesn't build the case into the best defense in the league. I'm sorry, Cowboys. I mean, you guys look like it against the Giants, but that's and Michael Wilson emerged a little bit. He had a couple of those two big plays for the Cardinals. It was nice to see that.
And let's not bury the lead though. Dak just is himself. Throws an ill-advised pass in the red zone for an interception, which ultimately more or less cost him the game. It's just who he is. It's just who the Cowboys are. Doesn't surprise me one iota.
No, it's it was definitely the game that we were. And I'm curious to see how these Cowboys bounce back too, because they're playing the Patriots next week.
Interesting game because
the Patriots defense has been playing pretty decent too. So
offensively, they have some rhythm, I think, or they can have a bit of a rhythm too. I'm not saying they're great. Like they're better than I give them credit to going into the year.
Yeah, I think they only put up 13 against the Jets, who also have a very good defense. So
true.
We'll see. I think. I'm just curious to see how the Cowboys bounce back. It's back in Dallas too, so I feel like they're going to have a lot of momentum.
I mean, it's early in the game. Obviously, you can, anything can happen in the NFL. But if you're Dallas, losing a game like this, because they're gonna face harder teams, believe it or not, than the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, and this one touchdown too. 16 points, 1 touchdown. But
isn't that this is what I've been trying to say.
But they haven't been scoring a lot of offensive touchdowns either.
That's my point. Their offense has never looked good so far this year.
No.
If anything, They kind of looked bad against the Giants. The defense was great,
Mm-hmm.
was putting them in opportunities, but they were settling for field goals. Dak wasn't throwing for touchdowns. Jets, what did we see the second half?
Yeah.
Shut them down defensively, shut the Jets down in the second half, which was great, but they also kicked 4 field goals, and that's it. And they were up
Yeah.
18-10 going into the halftime, so it wasn't like the game was still, you know,
Against the
reaching
Jets, yeah, it
away.
was still within
And they
reach.
only
Yeah.
and they had to settle for field goals on the road. So they were lucky the defense, which is a nightmare. So they're lucky the defense helped them. They haven't looked great offensively. I think they're missing a receiver. Pollard looks good, but I think that they need some
Pollard still looks
supplement.
looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they might need something else behind him too to mix it up a little.
Yeah.
Um,
Deuce Vaughn has been pretty much just like Rico Dowdle, I think, took that role. Deuce
yeah, it
Vaughn
looks
has
like
been
Donald looks like
gonna
he's the
carry them.
backup. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have to figure things out offensively because they don't look good.
Yeah. I mean, for a team that's supposed to be, people have them in the Super Bowl contention. Just 5 touchdowns on the year and through 3 games.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not
interesting.
it's not as impressive. I think the Giants might have 4.
Yeah,
Right? 4? I think that makes
I
sense.
mean, yeah, it's that's an interesting point you brought up. They're not scoring touchdowns offensively. They
Yeah.
are moving the ball. It seems like, but I
I think their defense needs to, if they're going to be competing for this, because that's the thing. Like the Giants were just talking about trying to find a winning formula. When you're looking for the
mhm.
Cowboys, I mean, this isn't going to put them out of the playoff race, but like losing a game to the Cardinals exposes a few things to them,
Oh yeah.
moving forward. So
And if this Cowboys team has to rely on um their defense at the end, they're in
yeah,
trouble
yeah,
because it's
oh
just
yeah.
not who they are.
There's too many
I
offensive
think
powerhouses within this league. Like try stop. The Niners, the Eagles have all these
yeah.
options. Like their offensive weapons, you're right, just don't line up. Like Michael Gallup, yeah, he had a good game against the Cardinals, but like him as your number 2 compared to people like Devonta Smith
Yeah.
or Brandon Ayuk, it's interesting. It's interesting. Is there anything
Yeah,
else you want to get out of this?
I think that overall Dallas will be okay going forward, but it doesn't. I'd be nervous for that fan base just because you're seeing early on that when your quarterback plays like trash, you're not going to win. And it seems like he's capable of having those performance, continuously having those performance going forward this year. I'm not saying every game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that at all. But it seemed, and I'm not saying this game represents who Dak is. It seemed like
It
a
shows
game
what he
though.
can be, though.
It shows what he can be, and it shows that like it can happen more than once, which I'd be concerned about if I'm Dallas. Because Dallas also has the issue of uh how many good teams are they beating during the regular season? And it's like, sure, they got 12 wins last year. How many of them were against good teams? Eagles at home when they were playing Minshew. You have to go
Mhm.
over the record. So uh, it seems like the good teams in the NFL have Dallas's number.
And the Cardinals.
And the
Who
Cardinals,
are
yeah.
well, that's the thing. I feel like the Cowboys probably had the easiest run of a schedule. Like, and I'm saying that including the Giants week 1,
Yeah.
who have struggled. The Giants, the Jets without Aaron, that looked a little bit more difficult, but then once you put Zach Wilson in there, like,
And that was the first game. That was the first game where you knew Zach Wilson was playing. So that's
yeah,
advantage Dallas too because
yeah,
they know they don't have to game plan for Rodgers. They know they have Zach Wilson slinging the rock. Like that's huge for them. So I agree. They've had it pretty easy. I was trying to tell that to people. They did look good the first 2 weeks, but they were humbled in Arizona, which is very funny.
yeah.
Um, they're still a good team, but pumped. There are a lot of questions with that offense and the defense too. I don't know if their defense is going to be able to hold up season long like they have. It's tough. I don't know if they have the middle and their defensive line is going to be strong enough to stop the run. Secondary now, we'll see.
Yeah, and we got a revenge game coming up for Zeke too, who actually looked a little bit better last week for the Patriots. So who knows?
He did.
Maybe after seeing James Conner's performance of just running all over him, they'll unleash Zeke, as well as Ramondre. So we'll
Possibly.
see. We'll see this game plan coming up. Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm excited for that game actually. Anything else you want to get into for the Cowboys? Any other key points?
Yeah, no, just the point that after the Eagles played New England, I'm looking at New England since we all played New England. It's like
Yeah,
that's a game that New England could steal from a number of teams. Washington,
yeah,
I think I would favor New England decently. Giants, it's an interesting game. In Dallas, it's an interesting game too. So,
yeah,
yeah, each team will play them for sure.
yeah. That's and you know what? I think you guys are the only ones who haven't played the Cardinals. So I mean, hey, be
That's true.
careful, dude. Don't rule those Cardinals out, man.
We play them, I think, New Year's.
Yeah.
So we'll see
That's at the
where
end of the
that's.
yeah. So who knows if you guys are even going to be
Right. Yeah. I
playing
mean,
and stuff.
I'll be honest. The Cardinals are definitely for it. It seemed like Jonathan Gannon was unrelatable to his team, which I still think he is.
Yeah.
But I'll give Arizona credit. They're certainly playing hard for him. I don't
Yeah.
know if they're playing great, but
No, I mean
that's
they've been in contention all of these games. Like
yeah.
they lost by 4 against the Commanders, lost by 3 against us after they were whomping us in the first half, and
Right.
they honestly like this game looked like the Cardinals were winning it the entire time. The only reason why you'd think otherwise is because they're playing the Cowboys, but it
Yes.
looked like
No
the
doubt.
Cardinals game the entire time. They were in control.
Good point. Yep.
Yeah. All right. You want to get on to the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, as we know, 3-0. We
3
go
and
we go
0.
down.
The
We
only
go down
undefeated.
only undefeated in the NFC East. That's right. Quite an honor. Another game, bad weather. I think. I think I don't know. I think it's interesting because like football is a sport where it's like you play in rain, and that's the beauty of it. Not for the fans who go to the game, but overall,
Yeah.
it really has like it's tough to with offenses today with how you have to throw the ball a lot with these um, different play calling and offenses. I think it's just tough to play in wet weather.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm
I
being.
feel like there's been more rain than ever this year. I feel like
I
half the
think
games have been
so.
rained out. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on, man. I'll
bad
tell you what.
fall early weather.
I'd rather excuse me. I'd rather just play in the domes. As much as like I'd love a good snow game and
I'm
rain
leaning
games.
that way.
It's just, dude. It just like the Buccaneers failed to even get 100 yards on offense,
Yes.
which is crazy because I was watching that game and it seemed like they were in contention the entire time. Like it
Yeah,
seems like they were playing a pretty decent game. Obviously, they had a few interceptions or
yes,
turnovers, so that like they were getting the
turnovers.
ball
Yes.
back. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I don't know, man, but that game was just ugly. It was just an ugly
Yeah,
game,
it was.
and
I think.
the
Go
Eagles
ahead.
won ugly. The Eagles, like from what, because I was watching it and I was like, I kind of wanted to see your thoughts, but
Hmm.
I just thought it was just an ugly, ugly looking game for both sides. Like you look at these stat lines too, like they're not pretty, and it just everything was just back and forth. But here, take it away.
Yeah, yeah. Don't think the stats really represent the game. I think the Eagles. I think as a team, and I'm not even saying this just a troll. I think as a team, they absolutely dominated from start to finish. Um, they were up 25-3 going to the fourth quarter. They
Mhm.
held the Buccaneers going to the fourth to 100 yards. I don't know what they think. They got more, but
No, I don't
uh,
think they got 100 yards. I'm looking at it right here. I think
I
yeah.
have Mayfield through for 146.
Really, this? Oh, you know what? This says he only threw for 79.
Maybe
Maybe
it's
I'm.
accounting for. I don't know,
Oh, you
but
know what? No, my bad. Yeah, it says 146. You're right.
regardless, they still held them to 100, 200 yards.
Yeah.
They killed the first touchdown in the second half. The Eagles scored. They used 6 minutes to end the game up 14 with 9 minutes and change. They ran the entire clock off, which is the definition of domination. They would have scored points. They would have had at least a field goal on that drive. They had a few turnovers in the red zone. You can fix that, I think. Jalen's throwing more in the middle of the field, which is good. I think AJ finally had a game
Yeah.
that we all expected, which is nice to see. Um, Olamide Zacchaeus also stepped in for an injured Quez Watkins, had a
Yep.
touchdown. Nice to see because we're really only using AJ and Devontae for yards.
Hmm.
And you got to mix it up too. So
Dallas
it was a
Goddard had
good.
a good game too. I felt like he was
Yeah,
getting
he was
involved a lot.
okay. He had a few good plays, a few first downs, which I try to keep track of. I don't know if other people think that's a good stat, but I think
Oh
when
yeah,
players
definitely.
get multiple first downs, I think that's pretty noteworthy and important because they ultimately help move the chains. I thought
Yeah.
Garrett was good. Swift is just he's doing everything that he wasn't doing in like Detroit. He's running between the tackles. He's going in the middle, and he's been great at, at the running back
I mean,
position.
I thought when you guys got DeAndre Swift, I thought that was a major upgrade for Miles Sanders. And I feel like
Yeah,
he was downplayed because of everything he was getting mixed in between everybody, but he looks amazing right now.
yeah. The offensive line. I mean, I thought the offensive line was great yesterday against for the run. Kelsey and Dickerson specifically really just made it easy to run behind. Jurgens too had a few absolutely brilliant blocks downfield to get, for the run. They did what they had to. They definitely dominated. They won by 14 on the road. It could have been more. I think they left probably around 15 points on the field. You don't love that,
But
but I
also,
think
they were controlling the game, I feel like, with that.
that's what I
They
think.
shifted to the running in the rain, and I feel like that's played it safe.
Yeah, I think so too. I'd like to see them score 40 because it would be nice to see them actually execute a full game plan. It would be nice if Jalen had a clean sheet for once,
Yeah.
because he threw a few interceptions. One was kind of like a long punt. The other was really bad. Um,
The Devin White
I
interception, yeah.
That's right.
Over the middle, yeah.
And then of course you had Jalen Carter force a fumble that we ultimately got 3 points before the half. Uh, I try to. I don't use many words about Jalen Carter, Sean.
Yeah.
He's just that special. I don't know what
No,
to
he is,
say. It's
dude.
like
He looks amazing. I
I
was watching it. He's just and
yeah.
hey, James Bradbury recovered that fumble too.
He
That was
did.
nice.
Jordan Davis in the middle. I mean, that's what like Jordan Davis was a good player when healthy last year and stopping the run, and he was
Hmm.
phenomenal. And then when he was out, and we didn't have guys like Ndamukong Suh and Joseph,
Hmm.
we looked awful against the run. Then they came in and they helped plug it up a little bit. But now it looks like Jordan Davis could get to the quarterback. It's great
Yeah,
that
and Reed Blankenship comes back with that nice interception too. I didn't really
he
love
did.
the interception. They said he was doing a lean with a rock with it. It just looked like he was just moving his shoulders. I don't know. It was
I, I
poorly
I'll say
executed celebration, great executed interception.
I'll say this.
Yes.
If you look in the background,
Hmm.
Darius Slay is perfectly in sync with him. A plus celebration,
All right.
regardless.
All right.
Yeah, I mean the defense looked amazing. I thought I'm the Eagles have had very good defenses in the past. I don't know if they've ever had like great defenses since Jim Johnson was their defensive coordinator
Hmm.
in the early 2000s. It looks very good. It's impossible to run on this team right
That's what I was
now.
gonna say. Like another week in a row, you guys proved that you guys nobody can run against you.
Right. Against White, who I think is a decent, and I think he'll be a good running back too.
Yeah.
Um, we play a little back with our corners. I don't love, but you also don't give up big plays. So like it's kind of a negotiation there. Bend, don't break kind of thing.
Hmm.
Josh Jobe stepped in, played the outside. I think he's looking pretty decent
Do
for
you think
what,
that's going to be the way going? Do you think James Bradbury is going to stay in the slot, or you think it's going to depend on the game plan, who you guys are playing?
I think it's going to depend. It's a good question too. I think that they will try to fill the slot corner position because I think you want James Bradbury outside. I think they'll put him in the slot a little bit because you can,
Hmm.
but I think you'd want Slay and him outside. That's just me.
Yeah, is Josh Joe? Has he played slot before, or do you think that there's somebody else that you'd probably bring up, or is Josh Jobe going to be that
We
third
have Mario
corner?
Goodrich who was injured
Yeah.
for this game, who is a slot. He is a slot corner. He was a backup slot corner for Avonte Maddox. He kind of got tossed around a little bit against Justin Jefferson. Who doesn't? I also rewatched a little bit of that game and thought that he played better than I thought he did initially.
Hmm.
You can use someone like him. You could also pick up someone like William Jackson, although he looks kind of cooked. There's some free
Yeah,
agents too, so we'll see. Um, but yeah, it seems like they dominated the game without like finishing the cause offensively. So it's again, you want to see a little more, but I also look at it as like the Bengals are 1-2. They're the Cowboys lost to Arizona. I'd rather be winning these games, and I don't know like how other teams like. If I'm the rest of the NFL, I'm looking at the Eagles like they're not playing their best football. They're not clicking yet offensively.
but they
They're
could
still
hit the
beating.
stride for playoffs.
They're
Like,
not only that they're still beating teams pretty handedly, and
mhm.
we're not seeing their best. So it's you want to see them pick it up offensively, but it's one of those games where it's like if you run out the last 10 minutes of a game, complete domination. So
Yeah, and you
we'll
can.
see.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like you guys, you have enough going from Jalen Hurts with all
Hmm.
your receiving threats. Your defense, they can't. Nobody can run on your defense. So if you guys can
Right.
just shut down those outsides because you have that secondary, and then with your offensive line, you guys can run up the entire game with DeAndre Swift averaging 8 yards per carry. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's you guys have a team built for these situations. I want to see. I mean, next week you guys have the Commanders, so let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a game that I mean they won and won against you last year.
They did at home.
Um, but you guys are going to be in Philly. Sam Howell's
Yeah.
coming off an atrocious performance, Nathan Peterman level. Uh, I'm curious to see how you guys handle that. And I'll tell you what, I don't think I'm going to be starting Brian Robinson in fantasy next week. I definitely do not think that is a good idea.
It's tough to start running backs against this defense.
I probably
Um,
won't for the rest of the year. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I think a few negatives from last night. Jalen's still making some dumb reads. I don't know why.
Hmm.
He's having some issues there. They move. I think to conclude with them,
Yeah,
They moved the ball really well against Tampa last night,
yeah,
and they killed clock overall. But they just didn't execute ultimately for a
yeah.
few times where they should have. The game probably would have been 40-11 if it was if they took full advantage. Um, yeah,
It
I
was
think.
it was nice seeing AJ Brown get back
Mhm.
into that dominant role. I think that's good. But I mean, like Jalen Hurts, to your point, he doesn't look like the MVP. He doesn't look like an MVP candidate thus far.
I think
I
he's
would,
trying.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's trying to figure out the system that Brian Johnson's running. I don't think he's totally comfortable in it yet. Like I said, I thought the Eagles would miss Shane Steichen, who is now with the Colts,
Hmm.
um, who just beat the Ravens,
Yeah, good.
um, with Gardner Minshew too.
Yeah,
Um,
took
so
took your backup quarterback, dude.
that's right. Um, yeah, there are some growing pains for sure. I think that it's weird. I thought the problem with the setup with the Eagles with the running backs is they really want Swift to be healthy.
Hmm.
So they're giving Gainwell a lot of touches in the first half. I thought Swift should have had more touches. We saw it in the
Yeah.
second half what he did. It always seemed like in the second half too, whenever Gainwell got touches and made a good play, Swift would have like got out of would have like jumped a tackle or like had a better read and like would have had like a long touchdown like on a few plays where it looked like Gainwell's tripped off that could have been a big play. So they have to balance that.
Hmm.
I think that that's the one issue I've always had with running back by committee.
I don't see why like Kenneth Gainwell, like 14 carries, 43 yards, average 3 per carry. DeAndre
Mm-hmm.
Swift, 16 carries, 130 yards. I mean, that's night and day, like over double his yards per carry. I mean, like, I get they want to mix it up, but like Kenneth Gainwell too, he doesn't look like that bruiser back. I feel like he's more for passing
Oh,
downs
he's not.
and yeah,
He's
like
not.
he's a tiny back. He's more for those
Yeah.
passing downs. Like, but what my question is, where's Rashad Benny? Wasn't he active because Boston Scott was out yesterday, or was he also a healthy scratch?
It's a good question. I haven't been thinking about Rashad Penny, but I probably
I
should.
mean, I guess you don't
I don't
really
know.
need to, but like,
I
I
mean,
feel like Rashad Penny would be a better like running complement than Kenneth Gainwell. I know that they love Kenneth Gainwell, but like,
yeah,
it's not
I
like he's
think
been a superstar up to this point either.
there might be rumors around. I don't know how true they are, but I think after seeing uh, Penny play against the Vikings, who was okay, had some moments, moved the ball, got a few first downs. Some may think that he could be cooked.
Yeah.
We'll see. You gotta keep on playing the schedule to see. But yeah, that's a good question about Penny. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah. But thank you, Devonta Smith, for only getting 28 yards. I needed you to get 30. That really hurt, especially because I celebrated because I thought you only needed 25. That
I thought he
sucks.
got more.
No, 28. 28. It was a pretty quiet game for him.
No, he did.
Yeah, which is I feel like it's you guys are just
Did he
like
have a
picking.
tackle for loss or no?
He might
I
have.
thought he had 30, I thought he had 33 at one point. Interesting.
Probably. That seems like my luck. Yeah. Yeah, I mean you guys look good. Jalen Carter still looks dominant.
He does.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that. It's nice that like linebackers are still making plays. Like, oh my god, they cut Nicholas Morrow and they bring him back, and he looks fantastic. Cunningham looks fantastic. I I'd love for it to continue. So, and it's looking good. I think I'll be honest too. The Bucks were 2-0 going to the game.
Yep.
I don't think the Buccaneers are a good team. I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
they played the Bears and the Vikings, and the Vikings
right.
are still winless, and the Bears are
And
still
the
winless.
and the
So,
Vikings were also week one, which I think week one is a weird week in general for the NFL teams. And they beat the Bears week two, of course, who might be the worst team ever assembled.
yeah,
So
really, really awful.
I thought they'd be better.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think the Buccaneers are a good team. I think I offensively they're okay and have some talent. Defensively, they have a lot of players. I just as a team, I just don't think they're anything special. But maybe being in the NFC South with competition, they'll be relevant.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, the Falcons didn't look very good against the Lions.
Right.
With Bijan shut down.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints, I actually have a little bit of faith in the Saints, and it looks like Jameis Winston's going to be starting moving forward.
Yeah.
At least for the next few weeks while Derek Carr is dealing with his shoulder injury. So,
yeah, that's a
and the
good
Panthers
backup.
are just Panthers are
Rebuilding.
they might be competing for another top 5 pick. It looks like
Oh
competing
yeah,
for another
absolutely.
top 5 pick.
Definitely top 5, maybe even more. Actually,
maybe the first, but I don't know. The Bears are really, really going for that. So,
they are.
Oh yeah, the Bears actually have their first round pick. Pretty sure.
Do they? Good.
Yeah,
They should hold on to it.
Yeah, the Bears are going to need it, man, based on
Oh
the way
my
that they're
God.
playing. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all for this week. You guys are playing the Commanders next week.
Let's go around and at least say who we think. We'll go through the 3 games and say who we think will win.
I think so the Giants. Well, actually, let's go in order. So the Eagles are going to be playing the Commanders next week at
1
the 1
o'clock
o'clock game
Sunday
in Philadelphia. Honestly, as much as I want to say that Sam Howell will bounce back, I feel like you guys, this is going to be a division game. You guys are going to be playing hard. The thing that I'm most curious to watch is Sam Howell going to continue this atrocity of 4 interceptions, or will he find his groove again and look competitive?
It also doesn't help going against this defense right after that performance.
That's what I'm saying. The defense,
yeah.
And then your offensive line too. Like I said, your team is built very similarly to the Bills, who they struggled immensely with. So
no doubt,
it's going to be tough. And I think that in the ways which they struggled, your team's actually built better for it. So I mean, I could see this being. And I've been a fan of the Commanders. I've been optimistic. I could see this being a 30-point win from the Eagles, just based on. I don't want to overreact here, but I'm saying I don't know. Do you know what the spread is? Do you have that pulled up?
That's a good question.
I'm curious to see what that. I mean, I feel like it's at least a 10-point spread.
The spread also for the Bucks, I got at for last night's game. I got at Eagles minus 4.5.
Did you?
So,
Good
well,
for you.
I think it closed at 5.5 or 6. It's like my God, but what do I have? It looks like Eagles minus 8.5. That's a huge number.
It is a huge number, but it's division. It's division. Like
I know
I
what
think
you're saying too.
the
Yes,
Commanders are going to play hard, but like after that
yeah.
performance last week, like obviously they have to bounce back. They probably have the toughest team to bounce back against
The
in the
Eagles want to
defense.
play a complete game on offense. It's going to be at home, a 1 o'clock game. Finally, a 1 o'clock game. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and especially if James Cook, like I think DeAndre Swift is probably going to eat as well. Little bold prediction, I would say. I'm predicting it at least 3 sacks by the Eagles and at least 1 interception. Would it? I mean, I could see those numbers inflated with Sam Howell being
I'll
in the back.
say, yeah. I'll say, I'll up it a little. I'll say the Eagles have at least 4 sacks. I don't want to do over 4.5 because I think they might stop at 4. I'll say
Yeah.
over 4.5. 2 turnovers, but I'm not. It could be a fumble, an interception,
Well, if
two, and
Antonio Gibson's running it, that's how it goes.
yeah. Why
Um,
you watch him hold on to it like a baby against us though. Yeah, I'm
oh
gonna
man,
go. I'm gonna take Eagles. Eagles win.
yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles for the win too. I'm sorry, Commanders. Let's maybe Chase Young. Will I think Chase Young actually had a sack too last game too. I think he's 2 sacks in a row. Um,
Mm.
let's see Chase Young keep that up. Um, Kidding, never mind. Nope, they had 0 sacks. The Commanders had 0 sacks. I forgot. Yeah. So good luck. Good luck.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I want to say something positive about the Commanders though. Maybe you know what? Jalen Hurts has been a little sloppy with the ball. Maybe Emmanuel Forbes gets
Hmm.
another interception. That's my bold
Maybe,
prediction for the Commanders. All right.
maybe.
Patriots go to Dallas for the 4 o'clock game, the 4:25 game. Dallas needs to get right after losing to the Cardinals. This Patriots team has a pretty decent defense, though. Like they
Yes,
essentially shut down the Jets. The Jets got lucky in bringing that to a 3-point game. I was
yes.
watching that because there was a Patriots fan with me, and I was like, I really don't want to put this on, but because this is one of the ugliest games to watch, but I'll put it on. Um, but I I think that Dallas needs to bring that prove that they have the best defense again after that performance versus Josh Dobbs. Um,
Hmm.
I think I think before the season we said this was probably a pretty easy win for the Cowboys. I still am leaning Cowboys in this game as much as I want it to be otherwise. I think the Cowboys will probably get right here.
Yeah,
I could see it being a messy game too. I don't think it's going to be like a blowout by any means. I think that Dak might struggle against a really good Patriots defense. That good game plan from Bill Belichick. And what are your thoughts here?
yeah. I think that's a good point you made. I think my heart says New England. I think if Dallas had won against Arizona, I think New England wins this game
Mm-hmm.
easily. Just because I think Dallas, they're playing with some house money in a sense where they're feeling good about themselves,
Yeah,
and they get caught up. They really can't lose this game now after losing against Arizona.
yeah. This is. I think must win game right now just for the mentality of the season for the
Yeah,
Cowboys. Because after the Patriots, they play the Niners.
yeah.
So
Wow.
if they go on a 3-game skid, losing to the Cardinals, the Patriots, and then the Niners,
Oh, I
it's,
really want to say
so
New England. Oh, I'm gonna say Dallas, but barely.
I think it's going to be a close game too. I really
I
do.
think
I don't know
yeah.
what the spread is here.
I think New England could make yeah. Don't be surprised if New England wins, and I'll say
Yeah,
that I always said it all along, even though I didn't. But for now, I'll say I'll take Dallas barely.
yeah. Bold predictions. I think For the Patriots, I think Dak throws another interception. For the Cowboys, I think that this is a get-right game. I think that they're going to – that's the thing, too, is like they lost, and they did what Mike McCarthy wanted to do, calling plays. They tried running the
Yeah.
ball. They guess what? They ran the ball. Tony Pollard had 122 yards, but their leading receiver barely eclipsed – I don't think he even eclipsed 60 yards. And you kind of need CeeDee Lamb to be explosive. So – maybe he starts leaning back into the old Kellen Moore ways and seeing that running the ball only works when you have that lead, which they didn't. They played from behind the entire time. It's really easy to say that if you think you're going to be winning the game, but if the Patriots get up early, I expect the Cowboys to try to pass the ball and maybe get back into their old ways, which also might force Dak to have a few more turnovers. So
Dak will throw 2 interceptions, bold prediction.
Yep.
And
it's bold.
Yeah,
you got to go positive for the Cowboys. I know it's hard, but like, what
it is hard.
You know what? I'll say this. I feel like the Patriots are good against the run, but I think Tony Pollard will continue his streak and he will have at least 100 yards from scrimmage.
I think Pollard's going to have 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, he did against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
I like Pollard. I saw him in the Invisalign commercial. He did a great job in there. And the last game for week 4 is the Seahawks traveling to MetLife for the Giants on Monday Night Football. And there's still some questions up in the air. We don't know if Andrew Thomas is going to be back. We don't know if Saquon Barkley's going to be back. High ankle sprain, but he had 11 days of rest. I mean, Brian Daboll was teasing that he might be ready to play the Niners. I think that was just a little decoy. I don't think he was ever going to play against the Niners. Ben Bredeson should be back from his concussion, so we'll have him at left guard instead of Shane Lemieux, who hasn't played since COVID. So that'll be nice because Ben Bredeson is probably our second best offensive lineman at the time at this moment. I think the Giants are going to play one of their better games. We're going to have more of a rest than the Seahawks. The Seahawks played on Sunday. We have that 11 days. We kind of have that mini bye. I have faith in the Giants because I feel like if the Giants lose this game, then our hopes of the playoffs, I feel like, are completely gone. And our views towards the season are more so looking like a better team and improving. I mean, we're not out of the playoffs if we lose this game, but the whole scope of our season changes if we lose this. And it also, like, I'm expecting a tight game because we play the Dolphins and the Bills next after this. Like, if we're gonna steal one, we have to steal this one. And the Seahawks are definitely a winnable game.
Good team still.
Yeah. Good team. I mean, they beat a good Lions team, everybody's favorite Lions team that beat the Chiefs, but they lost to the Rams. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that Rams game, I think, is playing with a lot of people. Like, assuming that Seattle would have won that game.
But you want to know the Rams? The Rams won that game with Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua going off for over 100 yards
no doubt.
each. So I think that's going to be a key to this too. I think, especially for missing Saquon Barkley, we need to finally see Daniel Jones be explosive and pass the ball down the field, which is what I want to see.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's hard for me to make a prediction because I don't know the health of the Giants. I think if Andrew Thomas is healthy, I think if Saquon Barkley is healthy, I'll take the Giants. If they're not, I think I'd have to take Seattle. So
I'm thinking Andrew Thomas will definitely be playing this game.
Okay. I'm iffy about Saquon, I think.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like, that's the thing too. I think even without Saquon, we can still win this game.
I think that's what I was going to say.
Andrew Thomas, I think, is more important to give us that time to actually reach our playmakers.
I think that's what I was going to say is the ultimate question. Assuming you get back Thomas and Saquon doesn't play, is that good enough? And the fact that I have to make a decision right now, not great. I think it should be a close game. If I'm picking, I find it hard to see the Giants winning without Saquon's impact. especially because like I just like as someone who's like the Giants, just looking at the running back, like looking at Breida and Brightwell, it's not good enough. Can they play a good game together as starters? Maybe. I'd have
Brightwell
to see it
actually
first.
kind of impressed me a little bit in that game. Like he had some explosive plays against the Niners. Very
All
few.
right.
There was very
Okay. Yeah.
few.
Let's take off those blue colored glasses for once.
Yeah.
It's I think yeah I think if Saquon doesn't play, I think I have to go Seattle. I think Andrew Thomas though makes
He
a big
moves the needle.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
If I had to pick one, which is not, I think Andrew Thomas is playing. I
But
feel like
The Giants also have to win. Seattle also kind of has to win too, though.
a
I don't
little.
know.
Yeah,
It
they're
should
two
be.
and one.
I'll say this. It should be a good game regardless for both teams.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm expecting like a good Monday Night Football matchup.
Yeah.
The Giants need to fix their tackling issues. Hopefully, we
Mm-hmm.
can get a takeaway. Like that's we still have no takeaways in the season defensively, zero,
Yeah.
and just one sack, 1.5. Leonard Williams had half a sack, and yeah, 1.5 sacks on the season. Like, and
Who are the
yeah,
other half sack?
it was Leonard Williams. Leonard
Right,
Williams
but
had a
how?
half sack.
But
Oh
how
well,
would he
I
have a
don't know.
half?
He was in on that Kayvon Thibodeau sack, so I think they gave him half a sack on there. Because I was thinking the
Okay.
same thing. But he
So
was
they
in
gave
on that
so
sack.
they
They
gave
gave
Thibodeau a full
Kayvon the
sack.
full sack, but Leonard Williams was there. I don't know. That's
There
just
might
what
be
it shows up in the stat
there
sheet.
might be some numbers that are being fudged in the public relations department of in communications
I
department
remember
of
the
the
play though.
Giants.
He was there on that sack. Um, Jackson Smith and Jigba really hasn't done anything for the
Hasn't
Seahawks
done
this year.
anything. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Tyler Lockett is still him. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
how old he is; he's still that guy.
He's
DK Metcalf
productive.
is still that guy.
Yeah.
Um, I hope that I would Darnay Holmes playing in the slot limited. I would almost rather have Darnay Holmes on Jackson Smith in the slot and have a Dory Jackson on Tyler Lockett, and then have Deontay Banks on DK.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't like this whole like a Dory Jackson being in the slot. I think this needs to be amended for this game. I think that
Yeah, I would
Adoree needs to be following Tyler Lockett wherever he goes,
I would want Dory to follow to
or
be on
Metcalf.
the outside regardless. But yeah, definitely for a game like this, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and we have to fix our tackling woes because, like I said, I mean, Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are no scrubs at the running back position, and we're gonna have to fix that defensive line. So
Yeah.
we have a long break. We have a lot of messy things we need to clean up. I think Jalen Hyatt gets back involved. I would like to say that my bold prediction is Jalen Hyatt goes for over 75 yards
Yeah, I think I
and
thought you were
maybe a
gonna take
touchdown.
I thought you were gonna take mine. I'm gonna say Hyatt has it'd be easy to say over 2.5.
Two and a
Should I
half
do it?
targets or two and a half
No,
receptions.
catches.
Hey, dude, he had 2 for 89, so like we could share this.
I'm gonna say
I hope that he gets at
I
least
want to be
3 though.
bold.
Yeah.
I think Hyatt's gonna have 4 catches. At
All
least,
right.
let's say.
Let's get him
Yeah.
involved. I think the fans want him involved. I know he wants to be involved.
There were times against San Francisco where he had him downfield.
Yeah. And he
And
didn't even take the
Daniel,
shot.
nope.
Not a single target.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was like one opportunity. I know Bobby Skinner did like a film study. There was like one actual opportunity where he could have gotten Jalen Hyatt the ball open deep.
Yeah.
And that was just missed. So yeah, let's take advantage of that, Danny. I know that the numbers didn't look good for Daniel Jones against the Niners, but that was not his fault. I thought that he played well within the adversity.
Mm.
But he's not playing like a superstar quarterback when you're not making plays out of that nothing. Like he had
Right.
nothing there, but you have to make that. So let's see it. Let's see it. So
You would think
gonna-
too the Giants would want to like dumb down the offense with all those with Andrew Thomas out, with Saquon out, get the ball out early, get some slants going, mix it up. I didn't really see that on Thursday night, and they're definitely not helping Daniel Jones out at all.
Yeah, we need to have some yards after the catch too, because like,
Mhm.
And honestly, like maybe even put Hyatt in the slot. I know like that's not really like his thing, but get that speed. If he has that speed, if he gets a break and can actually get some yards in
That's
the
where
red
I
zone,
would put him. Yeah, that's
yeah,
where I would put him.
yeah. I know that you want to have him be a burner on the outside, but like Wandale really didn't prove to
Yeah,
be
well,
anything. Paris didn't like, and it was Wandale's first game back. Like I think he'll be a little bit more electric, getting ramped
mhm.
up into the offense. But yeah, I'm gonna still go with the Giants just because I have to. Giants are home. They have a
I
lot on the
respect that.
line.
Yes,
I still have full faith in Dable. I think Andrew Thomas is going to be back. Even if Saquon is not back, I'm still going Giants. I just think that we have more
interesting.
on the line here, and I think that we're going to be playing for it. So I'm
You heard it
optimistic.
here.
I'm
There you go.
optimistic. What about you? Are you going?
A healthy Giants team. Yeah, I'll take the Giants if Saquon doesn't play. Oh, I think it's a coin flip at that point. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's fair.
Maybe Dable could draw something up without Saquon, but I really think it could be a coin flip. It's one of those games where it's like I don't really want to pick.
Honestly, if it looks like Saquon's not going to be there, like I don't know, I
Yeah,
I wouldn't be opposed to making some changes in the
because then you're like, because then Seattle's like, they're going to assume that New York's going to abandon the run, which will look like
hmm
they did against San Francisco, and you can play them defensively off of Daniel Jones out of the pocket.
yeah.
San Francisco did it well. Jones threw for how many times? 32 times, like 100 and what, 40 yards or whatever.
Yeah,
Not a
130. Yeah,
recipe,
140. Yeah.
not a recipe for offense against
Mm-mm.
another NFL team. So we'll see.
Yeah, not good. But all right. You know what? It was a little bit of a good for you guys. The Eagles are still undefeated.
Yes.
I think the Giants bounce back against the Seahawks next week.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised either if I saw that.
Yeah,
And
and
that
I
would be in any way you win that game too is big. So
yeah
it's
yeah.
not
It doesn't. We don't need to
there's
win
no
clean. We
there's
don't
no
need to win
style
clean.
points to this.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we just need a win. We need to come out
Yes.
with a win. I don't care how it
Hmm.
happens, but we need a win. But
Right.
I mean, listen, the NFL was as weird as it could have gotten this week, in
Yes.
week 3. So we'll see what happens in week 4. I'm hoping for some more twists and turns because it just keeps it interesting.
I agree.
Maybe we'll see another 70-point game. Maybe it's the Eagles against the Commanders. Who? Maybe not.
I'd be
I'm not
happy
rooting
though.
for it. I'm just to let you know, I am rooting for the Commanders. I like a good underdog, but at the same time, should I be? Because the Commanders
Yeah,
are
I'm
going to be
gonna.
competing for a wild card spot. It looks like the Eagles already wrapped up that.
That's a
So
good point of thinking, and I'm gonna ignore it.
it's tough
Yeah,
as a fan. It's tough as a fan.
no doubt.
But it's been a good week, Jeremy.
Sean,
I will catch you next time.
sounds
Go
good.
Giants. Peace.
See ya.